New Duquesne Dukes head basketball coach Dru Joyce makes his debut on Marching to Madness College Basketball Podcast. Coach Joyce was an associate head coach to Keith Dambrot the last two seasons as he retired after 40 years in coaching. He is a lifetime friend of NBA superstar LeBron James, as LBJ broke the news on his social media of Coach Joyce's move to the head coaching position. Coach, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you. Yes, you played a solid role in last season's 25-12 record. You guys won the A10 tournament championship, and then the Dukes took a 71-67 win over BYU in the first round of the NCAA tournament, and it was the first win in the tournament since 1969. So tell us a little bit about your thoughts and memories of how the Duquesne program was able to build to this point.
You know, you have to first give a lot of credit to Coach Keith Dambrot. He's been an awesome coach for a very long time. He had an unbelievable career, even dating back to his time at the University of Akron. And then you know, the process of him being here at Duquesne, you know, I can't say that I just came in and built it, right? He was here for 7 years, and I finished the last two with him. And, you know, we just hunkered down, we worked every day, and, you know, we had a confidence about us from a staff and as a team that we could accomplish something great. We talked about it early on in the summer and throughout the season. We didn't shy away from what we thought we could become.
Of course, the many duties of an associate head coach vary from program to program. So discuss your approach to the job these last two seasons, and then how it was a springboard for you to now take over as the head coach. You're the boss chair.
You know, when Coach Dambrot reached out to me 2 years ago, he was coming off one of the most difficult seasons he had ever had in basketball, and not only from the win-loss record, but he battled through losing his father. It was in the middle of a pandemic, so it was a very, very difficult time. And he was even struggling with some of the relationships he was having with players through those moments in time. His transfer rate was probably at an all-time high. And, you know, when we sat down and talked, it was, I need help with the culture. We got to build it back in a way where guys trust the coaching staff and they want to be here and not just play for themselves, but play for their teammates, play for their brothers. And my role initially and throughout the process was to make sure that I held true to that we kept our standards high, that we made sure we had a tight connection amongst the group. And, you know, it wasn't easy, right? It is a process. It's, when you talk about culture, it's something that you have to fight for each and every day. And but I was willing to accept that responsibility as well as some other things. Of course, you have your recruiting, but what he really allowed me to run away with was the defense side of the ball. You know, I've been with Coach Dambrot since I've been 12 years old, so I know a little bit about his defensive tactics and strategies, and he just let me bring my personality into it. And you know, I just tried to bring an energized approach each and every day, so our guys would be excited about playing defense.
Coach, I wanted to talk to you here to start with about your roster. You have David Dixon and Jake DeMichael, two players that started and played consistently. So what parts of their game may have improved over the summer that'll take them to the next level?
Yeah, for Dave Dixon, it's been a big time summer for him because this is his first summer healthy since he's been on campus. So he's been able to spend time in the weight room, getting great condition. You know, for the years past, he's always battled through injuries and some surgeries during the summertime. But I think he's going to make a jump in his play just from having an all season with us. I think he's capable of being an All-Atlantic 10 first team all defensive player. He has a nose for the ball. He protects the rim, quick feet. He can guard 1 through 5 at times, and he's willing. He has the mindset to do it. So, I talked to Dave a lot about controlling the defensive side of the basketball for us, and he's up for the challenge. So I'm very excited about what he can bring to the table this year. Jake DeMichael, man, he is uh he has ultimate confidence and self-belief. He's very poised. He doesn't get bothered by any environments and situation. He just keeps going. He plays with a high motor, offensively and defensively. And I think he's going to make a jump, right? As a freshman, and he didn't play a lot early. I think he was battling his own conditioning, just trying to get in shape and keep up with the speed of the game. And he still had a lot of success for us. But, he's another young man whose body has matured more. He spent a lot of time in the weight room. And I think he just has a natural ability to score the ball. And I think he will increase his scoring. I'm not going to cap him at any limit, but I do trust his ability to put the ball in the basket, and he's shown that throughout the summer and fall.
Point guard Kareem Rozier is a talented leader in his ability to find teammates off the dribble and also keep turnovers at a minimum. Solid three-point man as well. So will you have him working more this year, maybe as a combo guard based on the new players coming in?
I think Kareem will still be, more in the role of a floor general. Now, he's capable of stepping away and stepping off the ball because we do have some other guards who can initiate the offense for us. But what Kareem brings to the table is, like you said, his assist to turnover ratio is really, really good. He manages the game, the flow of the game well, and he's a big time defender. Although he's smaller in size, his heart, his toughness, his defensive IQ, they make up for any other intangibles that he doesn't have with his size. I also think Kareem is in the best condition that he's been in since he's arrived on campus. He looks like an action figure right now, and he's running much better. So it's going to be, it's going to catapult his success. I thought last year, and I talked to him a lot. I said, "Hey, you're not in good enough shape. You're
Yeah.
just not in good enough shape, and we got to improve it." And he took the challenge. He accepted it. He's been running every day, even after practice. He came into this summer in the best shape of his career so far. So I'm excited of what's to come for him this season.
That's interesting. Getting players in shape. You talk about running. Is that a situation where you just run in like the arena after practice, or do you have a certain group of things they do per day?
Yeah, so I mix and match it. There will be days where, I think we have to increase the heart rate and condition even after practice, maybe with a few sprints. And a lot of those things happen early fall and in the summertime. Now there's probably a little bit more concentration on our tactics and our strategy as we gear up for the season in these next 30 days. But I think conditioning is key, right? I'm not going to shy away from that. We get after it in the summertime because we feel like if we're in the best condition, we're the best conditioned athletes, it's going to give us a chance to win that game.
What are ways you have structured your offensive attack to work on the success of the returnees plus the 8 new players who have transferred into your Pittsburgh campus?
Yeah, I think for us offensively, it may look a little bit different. We lost 2 players in Day Grant and Trey Clark that were unbelievable off the bounce,
Mm.
right? You can't just walk in any gym you want and find two young men who can play off the bounce, off the dribble like that, and continue to create plays. I do believe we have a versatile group of forwards. That we can get in different spots, but our ball movement is going to be key. Our ball movement, how it can lead to drive and kick situations and create good shots for us. And then Uh, we got to make sure we attack the glass and really put pressure on offensive rebounds and just make sure that we value getting extra possessions.
Now you have Canisius transfer Trey Dinkins, who was the seventh leading scorer in the Metro Athletic Conference last season, and Alex Williams, a former Furman Paladin, who comes in and can score the ball. I think he shot 39.9% at Furman last season. Finally, the guy I wanted to mention was the George Washington transfer, Maximus Edwards, who was the A10 Rookie of the Year in 2022.
Yeah. So with Trey Dinkins, you have an experienced guard who can play in a combo-like role, one or two, and he really shoots the ball well in a variety of ways, whether it be off the dribble, out of ball screen situations, or off the move. So we have to be um, smart in our approach and find a way to be able to develop him shots and make sure we find him when he's open, as well as Alex Williams, another senior. This guy has a lot of experience. He's played in a good program at Furman as well, and his best capability is how well he can space the floor. He has a lot of range on his shot, and that's going to be needed to open up driving lanes for some of our slashers. And then with Max Edwards, he has a wealth of talent, right? He A10 newcomer of the year, excuse me, rookie of the year. He's a big time rebounder. So that's a huge emphasis for us as we want him to continue to flourish in that area. And then he is a guy that's capable of scoring in bunches. So we're just trying to get him in different situations where he can attack the basket and feel comfortable. But he's growing with us. The challenge with him that we talked about throughout the summer is how well he can defend because he can, and now he just has to do it at a consistent basis. And he's been taking huge strides in that area.
Through your summer workouts, what are ways that the newcomers and the returnees bonded into a solid overall team?
I think most of that happened away from the court. Each summer, even in years past, and this goes back even to my time with Coach Dambrot, we have a sports psychologist visit with us, and we spend 2 to 3 days with that sports psychologist, just really developing what our connection is going to be, our goals, our standards, and getting on the same page. So we spent a lot of time and energy making sure that guys had the same mindset when it comes to how the journey needs to be, what are our expectations, what are our standards? Because when you bring transfers in, and even your returning players, everyone has these individual goals, which isn't wrong, right? We all have those things we want to accomplish, but we also have to understand that there may be some sacrifice that's needed. Those goals that you have may not come in the shape and form that you intended them to happen, but we have to make sure that we understand that our true goal is to make sure that we win games and that we build each and every day. So I think a lot of the bonding, like I said, it happened off the court with our period of time spent with our sports psychologists, and then it's up to the coaching staff to drive the initiative, to drive the message each and every day.
Speak to your philosophy on when players in the paint should put the ball on the floor during a half court set.
Yeah. So I don't know if I have the traditional back to the basket player, that guy that you throw the ball into and he controls the game from there on the block. I do have some size and athleticism,
Sure.
and power, and we'll
Exactly.
we'll have to create some different driving angles for our guys to get down there because that's where I believe they're more comfortable when they do put the ball on the floor, is when they have an opportunity to be facing the basket and not as much as back to the basket. But the ball will go inside because I understand how much pressure that puts on the defense. You draw fouls that way. You collapse the defense that way. And I do think you know if we are smart about it and use our size and our depth in the right way, that we'll be able to generate some baskets.
You mentioned the point with the post squaring up off the catch. I think one of the toughest matchups for anybody in basketball is when you have a power forward who can totally make his baskets from like 15 feet outside and maybe even be a 3-point shooter.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we have the forwards that are capable. One transfer that hadn't been mentioned is Deshaun Corbett from Chicago State. Now he's a bit undersized if you were to just look at his numbers, but he plays like he's 6'10". He's had a lot of success, and he's one of those forwards that has gotten it done at 3 levels, from the mid-range area, from right around the basket. He has great footwork and shot fakes. It seems like I'm telling my guys in practice, we got to stay down, but everyone goes for his fake.
Yeah.
And hopefully come game time, it bears the same results. And he also can stretch it out to the 3-point line. And then you have Jakob Netjes, who's capable, who's a returner, who will be a sophomore this year. He's also capable of attacking the same way.
Coach, with a 4-out offense, is your philosophy advance the basketball and look for that 3 in transition, or do you set plays in the half court to find the 3? And then maybe if you've got that power forward that can hit the 3, he comes into play based on his matchup.
No, we're going to let it rip.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, it's my
We're going to
game.
let it rip. We're going to let it rip. I believe in generating offense early. I want to put pressure. I want to put immediate pressure on the defense. That doesn't mean we have to take the earliest and quickest shot, but my philosophy and idea is that we need to apply pressure on the defense with pace and try to and immediately start hunting what can be the best shot, because every possession you're not only facing the defense, you're up against the shot clock too. And as it starts to wind down, points per possession start to wind down as well too. And even just based on our numbers from last season, we were much better when we were getting shot attempts with 15 seconds left on the shot clock as opposed to 5.
Yeah. Kids like to play that way. And I mean, if they do, why not? That's where they're going to be successful. If you want to do something, it just reasons to the fact, whether it's in basketball or anywhere in the world, that you're going to do better if you want to be there doing it.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the mindset. And I want our guys to understand my philosophy and be confident in that. I feel like I've encouraged too many guys right now to take the shot. I'm hoping that's not an issue.
What do you view as teachable moments when a team may be struggling in a certain part of the season?
Um, you know, that happened. That happened to us last season, right?
Yeah.
We had high expectations. I believe we were at least picked top 3 to finish in our conference. And we had a good non-conference record, and we come into the A-10 and boom, we get hit right in the face. And I think it's just going to be one game, and then it happened a second and a third and a fourth and a fifth. And that moment had to be teachable, right? It could have went 2 ways, right? Because your guys are affected, right? Your guys are affected. Your team is affected by those losses. They're carrying it. And how does the staff react is really, really key. And we chose learn, right? We chose let's teach, but let's also acknowledge what we're doing well to reinforce what we need to continue to do. So there was a lot of reinforcement of good more than the reinforcement of negative.
Sure.
The negative things we decided to teach and reinforce the good habits, and that allowed us to stay poised, to stay confident. And it was some tough teachable moments. I won't say everything was oh happy day.
Sure.
There was a lot of accountability that had to be accepted from top to bottom, from coaches to players. And that's a sign of a true team as well too. To accept those challenges, and that's kudos to not only our staff but our leader during that time, Coach Dambrot. So I hope to be able, if I'm faced with that adverse situation, to remember and draw back on that time where we went through it before, because that was the right thing to do.
When you look at the A10, been inside it here for 2 seasons, talk about how you would characterize the conference.
One of the toughest basketball conference in all of Division I basketball, from top to bottom. It's littered with big time coaches, maybe even some Hall of Fame guys at some point. And tradition, right? There's a lot of tradition. Like I love it when I walk into the universities and I see retired numbers and I see the banners, and every school has them. There's
Yeah.
not, every school has them. Every
Yes.
school had a run. They had a moment where they were the top dog, and that just says a lot about the conference in itself. Just that winning spirit, that tradition that it has from top to bottom of programs who have had success, even if they may be struggling at the moment. There's something there. There's a fan base there that understands, hey, this is a winning program. It's supposed to look different. And you feel that in environments that you walk in, and it's tough. I came from another conference, and I just fell in love with the A10. By the first conference game, I loved it. I loved the style of play. The players I thought were high level. The games were intense and competitive, and it's great playing environments, right? When you go on the road, you better be ready. You got to be good that night.
Yeah. Last thing, Drew, we mentioned how LeBron James had been a lifelong friend. How did he make you become more confident as a consistently productive player, which you were at Akron, and then in becoming the new head coach of the Dukes?
You know what? It's belief. What I learned from him, especially through our playing days, is how he believes in the process, how he believes in the players around him,
Yeah.
right? And there's something to that, because he understood, hey, guys may struggle, you know, but if I keep my belief and I keep my confidence, maybe I can help them through a situation, right? Maybe my encouragement, maybe my, maybe sometimes even his challenge, right? His force, maybe I can help a guy through a tough period. And that's something that, you know, he probably had much better than me. I was I voiced my opinion a lot. I challenged a lot of guys, and during our playing days, and he would be the one that would encourage you. Hey, you got to take that shot every time. You may have just airball,
Yeah.
but you don't you dare pump fake that. You take that shot every time. That's the right shot. Those type of things, and I even catch myself saying it to our guys throughout practice. I'll say it throughout the games. I said it today at least 5 or 6 times. That's the right play. That's the right shot. Don't turn that down. I like it. We'll worry about the results later.
Coach Dru Joyce, the new boss man at the Duquesne Dukes. Coach, I tell you, man, it's been a pleasure conversating with you. I hope we can do this again at some point, maybe as we begin the season or get into the A10.
Absolutely. We should do it again, Ken. I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you.